Gururdevo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Like in any science, even on the spiritual path, for us to have full Shraddha, full faith, the authenticity of the knowledge is important, as well as also who is imparting the knowledge. So as we unfold the beautiful sections in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that any intelligent person can only take that knowledge to be authoritative which has been tested over a period of time by many great people who have demonstrated its evidence in their life. So that in the 3 verses Bhagwan has covered, that this is the same ancient knowledge lived by such great personalities and which has been transferred from teacher to taught through the parampara. But in long periods of time, like everything in this universe has its ups and downs. And when for a long period of time also this knowledge is lost due to lack of demand, students who can live this knowledge or seek this knowledge, or the teacher parampara has somewhere broken, teachers taught parampara has broken. And where does this happen? When people give more importance to sense pleasures than to the higher aspirations of life. Having said that, Bhagwan said that I gave this knowledge to the sun. Now, so that people will not have any doubt that what was said was just some random show off, which many people even do today. But Bhagwan takes that opportunity not only to reveal to Arjuna, his disciple, his devotee and friend, his true divinity. Even when we see Bhagwan's avatar in the Itihas and Puranas, Bhagwan, especially in the form of Ramchandraji, has not revealed himself as divine or godly. It's just humanly great. Only to Shabri, only to Hanumanji, only to Lakshman does Bhagwan reveal his greater nature. Otherwise, Bhagwan hides it because he's come with a certain purpose. So now, because of Arjuna's question, another beautiful topic, first of all, the divinity of Bhagwan, in a way giving logic and explanation to Arjuna's question. But one of the great contributions to the world is the philosophy of an avatar. The very word avatar, very famous today as some video game, and you have children will call it as avatar. And then you also think it's quite modern to say that. So you will also say avatar. Avatar, it itself means a descent, manifestation. And Bhagavan speaks about the avatar. What is the divine manifestation? And the evidence of avatar is there in the Vedas itself. And last year, in the same Chinmaya Jayanti camp, we had spoken on Kenopanishad, and where we have the story of the Yaksha, the manifestation of the supreme, infinite, formless, attributeless self or Brahman taking a form to protect the Devatas. And protect from where? They have already become victorious over the Asuras by the grace of the divine. But to protect them from their own pride, arrogance and ego. Because from ego comes our fall. So Bhagavan takes the Yaksha avatar. So in Kenopanishad, in the Vedas itself, the praman or the evidence of avatar is there. And in the Bhagavad Gita, through Krishna's own words, it gets even greater validity. And in the Puranas and the Itihasas, it is more elaborately demonstrated, and therefore only in Hinduism, call it Sanatan Dharma, today it's Hinduism, let's not, feel that, it's like any other ism. Do we have this great knowledge of the Supreme Himself descending upon this earth out of love, compassion for the establishment of dharma, means protection of the people. In various religions you have, the Son of God or the Messenger of God or the Prophet of God. Yeah. Only in our Vedic culture there is the daring to say that the Supreme Himself manifests in this world for the protection of the world. And protection of the world means to guide the world towards greater peace, happiness and fulfillment. So now Arjuna asks the question which can come in our minds, and Shankaracharya says in corrupt minds this question comes. So, Arjuna questions.
Aparam bhavato
janma
param janma
vivasvatah
kathame
tadvijaniyam
tvamadau
proktavaniti. Arjuna questions. Aparam bhavatah janma. Bhavata, thy, your, janma, your birth, in the house of Vasudeva and Devaki. And Devaki Mata was, Vasudeva and Devaki were his uncle and aunts. So aparam again, as we explained in the morning session, later. So aparam bhavata janma, param janma vivasvatah, and prior was the birth or the manifestation of the sun, or sun was created long before you were born. And you say that you gave this knowledge to the sun, that too also when? In the beginning of creation. Therefore, katham etad vijaniyam. And therefore, how can I accept, how can I understand? And vijaniyam means how can I with surety accept and understand tvam adhav proktavan iti, that you gave this knowledge in the beginning of creation. So Arjuna asks this question, and Bhagwan replies,
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bahuni me vyatitani
bahuni me vyatitani
Janmani tava charjuna
janmani tava charjuna
Tanyaham veda sarvani
tanyaham veda sarvani
Natvam vetha parantapa
natvam vetha parantapa. Does anyone know the birth date of Arjuna? Here it is said. And Krishna's birth date? When is Janmashtami? No, Krishna was also born like Balakrishna in May. Evidence is here. Bahuni me vyatitani. Me vyatitani. Yeah. In May. Janmani tava cha Arjuna. Charjuna. Charjuna. Tava Charjuna on 4th June. Anyway, this is one of Guruji's jokes. So I don't take royalty for that. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava cha Arjuna. So, hey Arjuna, bahuni many me vyatitani janma, many janmani, many janmas, many lives have passed away of mine as well of yours, Arjuna, tavacha Arjuna. Tani aham veda sarvani. Now, many have been my life, and of course in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna has already pointed out that the jiva, the subtle body, mind and intellect, which is enlivened by consciousness, according to its vasanas, its desires, and the result of its action karmas, takes up different bodies, and even when this particular body dies, the jiva takes up other bodies. Now, I'm not going to go into the logic of reincarnation. That's in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. If you buy the whole Bhagavad Gita, or get the whole Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Gurudev has explained. Other religions don't believe, they are wrong. Acha, how can you say that? No. Well, if they can tell you are wrong, you can tell they are wrong. Yeah. The evidence of the eternity of the jiva itself has been explained, and Krishna himself had told Arjuna that every body which is born has to die. Every body dies, but nobody ever dies. Yeah? And the jiva takes birth after birth. And birth is not only in the physical human form. Deva Yoni is there, Bhuta Yoni is also there. Yeah? So different types of births. I mean, now I don't want to get into the logic of, how come then so many population is increasing? only the creatures under your, Gurudev say, your bottom. Right now, when they die, there can be a population explosion if they became human beings and you became ants. You know? So many have your births, Arjuna, taken place, and many have been also my manifestations. And many a times, what he is trying to indicate, we have been there together. It is not a cliche nowadays, Don't you think, I'm telling you, when you go to certain of these, places, they will tell you, लगता है हम पिछले जन्म में भी मिल चुके हैं, जन्म जन्म का साथ है. Don't fall for it. But even all of us present here, whether even couples, etc., this may not be just your first life that you are together. So many have been our births, and in many we have even probably been together. Now, Arjuna will say, then what's the difference between you and me? And how can you say that you gave it to the sun? I don't remember any of our birth. That's why you are man, I am God. What is the difference between man and God? If God also has got so many births, and I have also got so many births, then what is the difference between you and me? Bhagwan clearly says, that Aham Veda Sarvani. I know all of them. Tani Veda Sarvani. I know all of them. And Natvam Veta Parantapa, a scorcher of force. You may have had many victories, but only one who has conquered his mind will be able to know the past, present, and even the future. Bhagwan Shankaracharya comments on this, that why is it that the jiva, the individual, does not remember past life? And then people also put this logic, if there was past life, then how come we don't remember it? How do you prove that there is a past life? If you say that I am a believer of science and not of religion, which science? The only science that you know is every action has got a reaction. That is the only science people know. The relativity, nobody knows what relativity is. Every action has got reaction. Then at birth, each one is different. Each one gets different surroundings. Even each one is born with certain abilities or are differently abled, which you call as disability. Then you'll have to say that there is a result without an action. And at death, many times you do not get the result of what you have done. You'll have to say that there are certain actions which have got no results. So evidence of the differences that we see itself shows that there is a prior action done, and therefore there is a prior birth. Just because I don't remember. Now let me ask you, on April 21st, what did you eat? Most of you at home eat the same thing and never complain. And still you don't remember, is it not? Do you remember? Even what happened on 21st April, 2 weeks ago, you don't remember. And that mind of yours will remember what happened 20 lifetimes ago. Why? Shankaracharya says that because our mind is too limited, affected by our papas and dharma and adharma, papa and punyas, because we are so entangled at this moment with the results of our past actions in the form of pleasure and suffering, that we do not, even what happened, have you noticed how many times we all do that, right? Hi, how are you? Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah? Today at least, why I made you all discuss everything about yourself and the nice things about yourself, so that you have an icebreaker, so that you come to know each other. Yeah? Because otherwise you say, Acha, who are you? What is your name? Within 1 minute we forget. Is it not? So Shankaracharya gives the reason for it also. But Bhagwan, who is Nitya Shuddha, Buddha, Swarupa, one who is of the nature consciousness, eternal, pure, as well as free, unlimited, that Bhagwan remembers the past, present and future. Take a simple thing. Yeah? The same gold that you are wearing as a chain today, bought from the same jeweler that you buy your jewelry, you know only your chain, but the jeweler knows that before it became your chain, yeah, it was somebody else's bangle. No? The Creator knows the past, present and future of all the forms that He has created, but you will not know that. And our minds are so involved in the results of our actions, our papa and punyas, that's why our sorrows and joy, so entangled is our mind that we do not even remember the immediate past. How will we remember past lives? And there are techniques in our yoga shastras by which you can know your past lives. But we Indians, anything Indian, it's like, that's why the Westerners came, before those yogis passed away, learned those pranayama techniques, then went and marketed it, yeah, and created courses, not just through hypnosis. Fully aware, you can know. Swamiji, you know it? Yes. Yeah. You will tell us? No. So Bhagwan says, I know all of them, but you have forgotten them. That's why this doubt comes in your mind, that how, and literally, Sri Krishna in physical manifestation, or if you say if he had a birth, his age was just few months more than a month or two than Arjuna. So they were literally like twin cousins, they are of the same age. So that's why this doubt comes in his mind. But more than Arjuna, it is for us to recognize, not to have such doubts, and reflect what has been said earlier. You see, what happens is that we do not know how to connect all the dots of knowledge that we have gained, and therefore these doubts arise. Krishna is just reconnecting us with the knowledge that we already have, or which he himself has already explained, but it was in a different context, and Arjuna would not be able to apply it, relate it, or to bring that explanation and logic in the different explanations given by the scriptures. And that is one of the reasons also why we need the teacher who can connect these points, can remove our doubts. Now, this question will arise, and now to explain the whole concept of avatar, that Bhagwan, if you are complete, you are infinite, then why take avatar? How take avatar? Yeah. When you take avatar, and what's the purpose of your avatar? All these questions will arise. Now, one of the doubts that people have, and therefore, not only people have this divisions, my God, your God, because of the different languages and names, right? Then even in the same religion, Nirgunis, Sagunis, incomplete knowledge is the cause of all these fractions, even in religion. Now, then they give their own argument also. Now they say, how can the infinite, which is unconditioned, infinite means unconditioned by time and space, therefore in which there is no change, no birth, and as well as one who is all pervading and therefore formless. बड़े फैड बनते हैं ना, we are Sufis. If Nirgun and Nirakar has been explained, it is only in the Upanishads. What people call as Nirakar is Sagun only. Yeah? So number one is that how can the infinite? Now, the infinite need not take up a form. That is fine. But the infinite cannot take up a form. Who are you to limit the infinite? Yeah? One who can create all these forms, Gurudev would of course say it, all these stupid forms. Why can't he create an intelligent form for himself? And after all, whose form is this whole world? No? That the infinite need not take up a form, because there is a need, then of course there is some finitude. Need not take up a form, but that the infinite cannot take up a form, how can you? Who are you to say that? How can you limit the infinite? Is it not? Then there are people also in Bharat who will say that Rama and Krishna were great personalities, but to say that they are God. From where did we know about Krishna and Rama? Please tell me. From Bhagavad Puran, from Ramayana. What is that? Who are those great rishis who have spoken about them, and what have they said about it? That's why we don't even believe that they existed. Yeah? Why? How do we know that they exist? How did you know that your great-great-great-grandfather existed? You don't even have a photograph of him. This is called as, our own peculiar, illogical logic. Yeah? Our scriptures are based on solid logic, though the truth is beyond logic, but doesn't mean that truth cannot be explained through logic. Yeah? So now Bhagwan gives how, why, when, and for what does Bhagwan take avatar. And the topic concludes with, Achha, theek hai, okay, there's an avatar, but what relevance it has to us? Okay, theek hai, Bhagwan, you are avatar of the Supreme. But what relevance it has to us, that it is there in the books of spiritual development? All these questions Bhagwan answers. So one, to know the divinity of the Gita Acharya himself, because the spiritual knowledge is not informative knowledge that we study in schools and colleges, where the teacher we think is as though a paid employee, and we just gather some information, and these days you can get it over the internet, and that's why they are even wondering why a teacher is needed. No? But even for advanced studies, you have to have that rapport, relationship with the teacher to get the insight into the subject, so that it becomes your own knowledge, just not information to pass an examination. Therefore, it is so important in the spiritual path, where the truth that transcends our mind and intellect, that Shraddha and Bhakti is there, which means love and reverence is there. Love is that which brings about attunement of two minds. And reverence is that which brings about trust, Shraddha. Therefore, Bhagwan said, I'm revealing this to you because you are my bhakta, you are my friend, and you are my disciple. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.